Hey everyone, want to welcome you to You Own It with Jerry Thompson. Today is early February. I'm about a week late with this podcast just because I've been tied up with a number of projects and things. Some transactions that I had to get closed in the last week or so kind of sidetracked me a bit. But in any event, I want to talk today about something that I think is a little less nitty gritty, a little less transactional, a little more philosophical, a little bit more in theme with the name You Own It, and something that I'm seeing as a trend, not only in the real estate industry, but everywhere across the country, which is AI and how it is going to, and I'm putting this in quotes, change the world and change everything that we have. And I'm putting in quotes because honestly, it's aggravating me. Everywhere I go now, every profession, every person has a fear, would be the best way to put it, of AI. I was having a conversation just a little while ago via text with somebody that said, well, AI is gonna change things so much that they were worried about their job, what they were gonna do, all this other stuff. And I have one word for everyone. When I titled this podcast, You Own It, it was not titled about real estate. It's about you. It's about who you are and that you own it. Things that happen to you in your life don't happen to you. You dictate to them. You own it. It's about you. It's about personal responsibility. In real estate sales, those people that are the most successful make mistakes, own those mistakes, are honest to themselves about those mistakes, and take corrective action. By owning it, their responsibility makes them better at sales, and I find the best salespeople own their responsibility. As we head into changes in our world as they relate to AI, my word for realtors, for people buying and selling houses, for people in banking, for people in software, for people that write code, for people in this world, and this is speaking from my 35 years of experience in one industry and having success through a series of changes, pivot. AI will change things. It will not end things. And it is important that you recognize, no matter what the industry you are in, that it is an opportunity to pivot to, not to fear. Pivot. So I want to talk now, let's focus back as we hear all these conversations in the world about AI. Let's talk a little bit about real estate. AI is coming. There's no changing it. There are things that it is going to do on a day-to-day basis that it will change what I do as a real estate professional. There are things that it will change for you as a consumer when you buy and sell homes. There will be more automation. There will be more communication with bots, so to speak. I guess I don't even know if that's the right term. AI chatbots, AI salespeople, deep fakes, where you see and you believe something to be real and it is not. It is an AI. In real estate, you're going to see changes to, I've made some notes here, leads management for agents, meaning how do you get, as a consumer, communicated to by agents? There are agents already now that are automating their process where they're having an AI reach out and follow up and follow up and reach out and follow up and do things to generate leads for them. Chatbots and assistants, you may call on a house and you may find that the phone call is being answered with an AI who then is going to convert you from an inquiry into a more serious buyer, maybe even hook you up with an automated pre-approval system, which will automatically underwrite so that by the time you actually talk to a human being, the agent, you're already been pre-approved and pre-qualified. So your parameters have been searched and handed off to an agent. documentation, contracts, reviews, a lot of those things, it may get to the point where I'll be able to sit at my desk and say, write up a contract, here's the price deposit, full name of the participant, and an AI will fill in the blanks, submit the contract to you. You will give it a thumbs up, maybe through your AI, and have it officially signed, sent back to the agent for presentation, so there'll be less manual work. When I talk about pivoting, one of the things that I see when all this stuff happens is I see opportunities for real humans to verify the existence of what the hell's going on. One of the dilemmas I see coming up in the future is the ability for things to be faked so that nobody knows what's real. And I suspect that AI may actually bring more people back to the face-to-face closing table, more people back to face-to-face banking, more people back to significant. Remember, when you're buying and transacting on a house, you may be transferring hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to buy the deed and ownership of a property. And as we gravitate towards AI transaction management, who's proving that the transaction is actually being done by the individual? And let me give a shout out to a company called Adaptive Security. My son is a founder in it. They have a product that trains companies, employees on how to try to recognize deepfakes and that sort of phishing scams and things like that. And one of the things that's got me thinking about this is today somebody could take this YouTube video, create a deepfake of me and call you. And based on my patterns of speech, my voice, my sound, you might not know that it's a fake. It'll talk to you like it's me. It's AI. But as that begins more and more to happen, the real question will become what's real and what's not. Pivot. Professionals are going to be the lifeline to reality in those transactions. Now, as things begin to get automated, you're still going to want, and they'll automate. How much is your house worth? You can go to an AI and get it automated. You can be able to take a video of your house, automate the valuation process in order to get a correct market price. Forecasting the market. It may take all this data, put it all together and say, this is where the market's going to go next year. This is where the market's not going to go next year. Negotiating scenarios. You may be able to set a negotiation with an AI up that's going to take your fundamental philosophies in negotiation and put them into practice, or educate you on different strategies, different things, all very quickly. People will do it like Google now. All of this automation is creating fear. Now, one of the things I wanted to kind of hopefully impart some experience, especially if you're a younger agent, you're a younger consumer. I've been doing this since 1991. We started out, there was no cell phones. There were no texts. There were very limited computer systems. It was like the big, new thing. The internet was not. If there was internet, it certainly wasn't something we were actively using on a regular basis. You couldn't Google, I don't even think existed. I've seen 3 or 4 different market crashes. I have seen the advent of .coms and the web, and the venture capital went into just arbitrary names on the internet. And at the time, everybody predicted it was the end. The internet was going to stop all of us from being employed. Stores were going to disappear. The retail experience was going to be over. Shopping malls, and well, they are kind of dying, but mom and pop stores on Main Street are still thriving. Because if you bring an experience, the living beings that we are still want that experience. We don't want to do everything in our lives on this device right here. So philosophy-wise, in every one of these events that went through, I've been in meetings and rooms with 20 and 30 salespeople that have decided that it was the end of their career because the internet. Now the customer can get all of the data of any house. They can get photos of every room. They can get a 3D tour all online. They don't need us. Pivot. Where is your value in that? Where is the broker's value in it? Where's the attorney's value in it? Where's the mortgage broker's value in it? And how can we help the consumer get to the end? Meaning you as a buyer or a seller. What is my job? As all this stuff becomes more automated, at the end of the day, there still needs to be a professional that's going to help you verify what's AI chatbot is telling you versus what their experience is. None of that's going to be, AI is not going to be able to prove it, at least not today. I know people will go blockchain, Bitcoin, blah, 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 fine. Go ahead, do all that, and then there'll be another rule. So I've been getting kind of fired up. The more I hear all of this, you got to go to this, you got to do this. It's going to be a change of this profession and that profession. And it's not just real estate I'm talking about. It is lawyers. You can go on ChatGPT and get, or Gemini or Grok or, there's so many of them now. You could look at your problem, get case law, that the lawyers get paid billable hours to go research in a legal library. Right? I'm sure it's going to streamline their profession. It's not the end of it. For those that are talented, that can pivot their role to enhance it for you as you go through the legal process. Just as in real estate, agents that pivot, that enhance your experience in starting at the beginning to buying that house will thrive as AI comes. Those agents that were just unlocking doors and didn't have a depth of knowledge or skill to make you comfortable, they will cease to exist. But it's not the end of any particular industry. And I know this is more of a vague kind of higher end philosophical thing, but it's the title of my podcast. You own it. If things change and I'm wrong and we don't need humans to do anything anymore, I'll pivot. I'll figure out economically what part of this real estate transaction I'm a part of to do something to do what I love. I don't wake up any day with any fear about AI. I'm kind of excited about it because it makes some things I do easier. At the same time, when I talk about pivoting, there will be a counter culture, a counter to AI. As everything becomes so easy, there'll still be a value in the experience and the customer experience. How do you go into the house to shop for it? When you see something at the site, what is it? Is that mold? Is it this? Is it that? Sure, you can take your phone, send it up to AI and get a multitude of options. You could do the same thing with your trusted agent. Transactions should begin to get more smooth. One of the biggest problems is people have gone to the internet, and we'll get specific to the real estate transaction now. People has gone to the internet and they've begun to or educate themselves by seeing houses in advance, and the internet has sped up a lot of things in real estate transactions. One of the things it's failed to do, and nobody has found the magic formula for this, is real estate is driven by the local rules, laws, regulations, and custom. Where it might be, I just had a transaction where somebody sold their house in one of the Carolinas on January 6th, and it closed on January 16th. That is unheard of in Buffalo, New York. They have title companies that clear escrow, that insure title. Their title standard is different. Their contracts are different. Their moving dates are different. And they're able to buy something on the 6th and close the 16th. In Western New York, our title standards is the 1920 title standard. And what that means to you as a buyer is that every single title that is investigated, unless you decide to waive that standard, literally looks at the history of ownership of that property from 1920 to 2026 to make sure in that chain of title, there's nothing highly unusual or prevents you from getting clear title. Having that title standard slows our entire transaction down. So it's almost impossible to close within 30 days. Most closings end up 60 to 75 days here in Western New York. I've got some because survey's not in to match with the title or title's not in that run 90 days, which is back in, that's pre-internet standards. But it's because our standards in Western New York have a different title standard, have different documentation, have different paperwork than they do in Carolina, than they do in Ohio, than they do in Florida, than they do in California. And it is almost impossible to automate a system that can reflect the rules and regulations of East Aurora, New York, and Amherst, New York, with Los Angeles, California, or New York City. And then you add the extra layers where there are, in investments, there are rental laws, landlord laws. All of those layers of complication make this a very localized transaction. Now, AI may come in and be able to get all the data a lot quicker than anybody's been able to do it so far and try to automate it. But you're still going to need somebody to unlock that door, take you through that house, and reassure you as a human being of the decision you're making. All of us remember COVID. I liken this to the COVID to jobs. At the beginning, there was just a palatable fear. We locked ourselves in our house. It was the end of the world. We wore masks when we went outside for fear of spreading or receiving a disease we did or did not know we had, depending on how you got it. We would, before we went somewhere, I remember driving, if I had to go somewhere and I had to test, and then you'd go show up and they'd stick this thing in your nose and test. And guess what happened during it? People worked and created economic opportunities. So the moment we were able to leave our houses, we had one of the biggest economic surges in history. People just went nuts. But even during COVID, I remember I had a company where two buildings and they were dark and nobody worked in them. And I kept everybody employed. The government helped, but we kept everybody employed. And the reality is we did 40% of the volume all the way through the quarantine in the first year. 40% without ever, or very rarely, leaving our houses, without ever meeting anybody face-to-face directly at the table without a mask on. I remember having meetings with people, which they were in their backyard, and they would be 15 feet away from me. I'd present it, and as to why to hire me, I'd send them electronic documents so we didn't have to, nobody had to touch each other. And then when I ran through their house, I had a mask on. I sold houses without showing the house. And the buyer, after they bought it, the seller would vacate it while the buyer ran through to validate what they thought they saw was true. If we can if in the real estate profession, we were able to help people and sell houses during that time, AI ain't putting us out of business. AA is not putting engineers and lawyers and architects out of business as long as they learn to pivot to that market. It will do contract automation. It's probably going to help due diligence and fraud detection. It's going to help it's going to help with prospecting for agents, which is creating more business. It's going to reshape our job. It's not going to eliminate it. There are some significant risks to AI. And that's why I think I'm convinced of it. And maybe I'm wrong. In 5 years, you all say, Jerry Thompson, what an idiot, and you own it. I am convinced AI is actually going to bring many of us back to old-fashioned business practices. The inherent risk of monetary theft from deepfakes, from things, AIs that don't actually exist, stealing money for bad eggs, is going to be so high. Maybe we won't do online banking anymore. Maybe we won't do real estate closings with out-of-state notaries. I think 3 podcasts to go. Listen to it. If you want to hear about deed theft, it's real. People steal your property right out from under you and sell it to somebody else and take your money and your equity. AI is going to make that easier. AI is going to make it easier for somebody to break into your online bank account and steal it. It won't be an individual having to do it on their computer. It'll be their AI stealing. What an opportunity for human to human. I know who I'm giving the check to because I see them and they're real, and I'm in face-to-face in person. It may be our savior. It may be the thing that brings us back from the COVID where everybody got digital and screen time back to more human transactions, when we realize not having a human involved also drastically increases the risk of fraud. So that's my philosophical vent of the day. And it's something that I'm seeing. I'm seeing agents talk about AI. I'm seeing trainings on AI. I'm seeing fear in the job market and in people I do business with, as though AI is going to end what they do. And I'm sure people in other professions feel the same way. I'm just going to pivot. I'm going to find the soft spot. And I'm going to build my profession as I go forward the next 5, 10, 15 years in the way that I think my customers are going to want to be treated. AI will help automate. AI will never replace me. So remember, you own it. How you feel about things that are happening to you is about you. It's not about those things happening to you. The only thing outside things can change, and I know other people have said this, is it's how you react to those. Those outside influences can change, but you control how you react to those. And whether or not you pivot, whether or not you wither up and die. Thanks for listening to You Own It. I'll see you next month. Thank you so much for tuning in to You Own It. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for any resources mentioned during the show. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on your favorite podcast apps, and turn on your notifications so you have access to the latest and greatest. All of our social channels are clickable in the show notes as well. I'd also like to remind you to check out our website, c21jerry.com. There you'll find more info on me as well as my latest listings for all of Western New York. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, through any big decision, you own it.